So today I'm making my own sandals. I've got the two leather pieces clipped together, and here's the first pair that I made. I got a ankle strap and a foot strap. And I'm making these because it's super hard for me to find sandals that fit me correctly, and I prefer real leather, and I'm very blessed to have a dad who customizes trucks, and along with that goes upholstery, and he said I could have all the scraps that I want. So I got this piece, and I'm piercing holes in it to make the sewing process easier. Got a board because when it goes through, it really goes through. You can see all the holes in it. Yeah, I'm just super excited to be making my own sandals. I've also got this batting that I'm going to put in between these two pieces of leather to make it a little squishy, but not too squishy. Now I have clipped the foot strap part onto the pieces, and I'm going to flip it over and pierce through the holes that are already there all the way through to the foot piece so that it all aligns nicely whenever I want to sew it together. So I'm going to sew all the way down this edge and leave some space for me to put the batting in there. And I don't want to start at the bottom because I have to put the heel strap and ankle strap there. So I'm going to start up at the pinky toe. I'm going to put it in the hole. Sorry that you can't see it. So I brought it through the hole, and since the knot is not big enough, I am going to bring the needle through the loop that's created by the double thread after I got it all untangled from the wind blowing it all around. So I put it through that loop and drew it all the way through so that it's nice and tight and secure. Then I'm going to go back through that same hole so that once I start sewing, it'll be all nice and uniform, besides that little thread sticking out. So I'm just going to go through and sew all the way around, nearly all the way to the heel. I'm going to move that clip there so that I can keep on sewing. And then after I put the batting in, I'm going to sew all the way around again so that the little gaps left in between the strings will be all filled in. So, praise be to God, I had the perfect amount of thread to finish going around to the part of the heel that I wanted to stop at. And so to tie it off, I'm going to go back through the hole that I just went through and bring the needle under that thread, then again, and loop the needle through that little loop that I've created and tie it tight so that it holds. I'm going to do 2 of those to make a really good knot. Now I've got the batting, and when I cut this out, I cut it a little bit smaller than the sole of the foot so that it would fit nicely in there and not be sewn into the edges. So now I'm going to take all these little clips off so that I can get inside. I don't know why I didn't take them off whenever I was sewing. I just scooted them around and put them back on. Yeah, now I'm gonna open up that little opening and put the batting in there as flat as I can. And there's my son trying to use the hammer in the background. Now I'm putting the needle through, doing that same loop knot tie off thing. But this time I'm just doing it on one of the pieces of leather so that it's better hidden. And then I'm going to go through the hole behind it. Just to restart that same sequence of stitches. And this time I'm going to go through one piece of leather and then the next piece of leather, because I want to make sure the batting is nice and sealed in there to keep it from getting wet so that it doesn't mold. And later I'm going to seal this with wax also, just to make it nice and watertight on the seams. Now I've got the ankle strap and I am poking holes through the part that will be connected to the heel of the sandal so that I can sew it on there real nice. So I've got all of the holes pierced through the bottom of the ankle strap, and I've got 4 over here to attach this button. And then I have 2 over here to attach this elastic band, and that will be the fastener for the ankle. Now I'm going to sew on the heel part of the ankle strap. Just went from the bottom of the sandal to the outside part of the ankle strap, and I'm going to go to the next hole now, poke through the top, and it's kind of tricky sometimes, through the bottom. Then I'm going to go up to the hole that's going to be right above that hole. Then I'm going to continue doing these stitches all the way around the heel. Now I'm going to take the button and go through 2 of the holes to make a little stitch in the front. Then I'm going to do that same loop knot to secure it to the button. Now I'm going to go ahead and sew it to the ankle strap using the holes that I've already created. Ta-da! I went through about 3 times for each set of holes to make sure it's nice and connected. And now I'm going to go through those stitches that I created and make another loop knot. Now I got the elastic band and cut it off, and I folded it over so that I can create a little hem to keep it from fraying. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through one side continually after I make my little loop knot. So I'm always going to go through the front so that it creates this little loop around it to secure it, to keep it from fraying. Because this elastic band frays pretty often and fast. So I'm trying to secure it as much as possible. Now I'm going to line it up to the other strap that I already connected to the other shoe so that they are the same length. I'm going to cut it off a little further so that I have that little piece to fold over to make the hem. And now that I've got the hem all sewn, I'm going to connect it to the strap of the sandal. Now I've got it all connected, and there's this little extra piece that just hangs off in the back. So I pinched it together and made a little cut to mark where I want to cut down the center. Then I lined the cuts and folded it down and made a little hole at the bottom where I want the triangle to meet that I'm going to cut out of the back. Now I clipped it together and pierced through each of them together to make little holes that will align. I'm going to go through this stitch on the heel, make my little loop knot, and I'm going to go through bottom stitch over to the corresponding parallel stitch. Then I'm gonna cross over to the other side after I get it all untangled. And it keeps getting caught on things. But we conquer. So I'm gonna go over to the next stitch and run through the stitch that corresponds with that one, and just keep doing that all the way up, going over in the back, crisscross, and then straight over in the front. Now I've sewn all the way up and then all the way back down again to make a double stitch to make it nice and strong. And then on the inside, I did it in a way that it made an X stitch to make it extra strong. And then I tied it down by the heel so that it doesn't mess with my ankle. And there's my finished sandals. I am so excited. Little happy dance. Have a blessed day. I really like these sandals. I've walked around in them a bit now. The front is a little bit floppy, like it folds under my toes sometimes. So if anybody has a suggestion for how to fix that, that'd be nice. Besides like a flip-flop strap, I hate those. I don't want anything between my toes. But yeah, I love them. They're perfect. They provide enough cushion so that the rocks, the gravel around my house doesn't hurt my feet too bad, but I can still feel what I am stepping on. And it still like is transitioning my feet back into being able to be barefoot all the time. Yeah, I love them. They're so comfortable and so natural. Second update, I love them. They're super comfortable. I forgot I was wearing them. I was doing the dishes. I was like, I'm wearing shoes. I normally take my shoes off as soon as I get inside because I hate wearing shoes. But yeah, they're super comfortable, but I do not recommend using regular thread for your shoes because the heel has already started to rip off. The seam has started to rip off. So I'm gonna have to at least sew the heel part with some actual leather thread, like thick thread that came with my leather kit. But yeah, I love them. Thank y'all for watching this video, and if you stuck around to the end, thank you extra. Have a blessed day.